Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Let the record show that all board members are present tonight. There was a working session prior, and this meeting was properly advertised. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under
All right, I'd like to offer comment at the beginning and end of each of our meetings. So if there's any comments tonight, those are welcome at this time. All right, moving on to approval of our minutes from the January 21st, 2026 meeting. Everyone had a chance to review those, and if so, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve minutes for January 21.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to approve the minutes from the January 21st.
Excuse me, Tim cannot make the motion.
He can't.
Oh, that's right.
Okay,
Sorry.
because he was not present.
I called into the,
All right.
you're right, I was not.
Do we have a motion to replace Tim?
I will make that.
Ann, and then we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Aaron to approve the minutes from the January 21st, 2026 meeting. Thank you, Danny. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to the Baker Tilly Elite Project Phase 2, and it looks like Sandra Morgan is here for us tonight. Hey, Sandra.
All right, good evening, everyone. So I am here tonight to recommend continuing our relationship with Baker Tilly to provide advisory services and debt issuance services related to the LEAP project Phase 2. Specifically, that would be the water SRF loan for 2026 and then the wastewater loan for 2026. The scope that I provided you outlines services including the general advisory support, debt issuance, working with the SRF division, attendance at board and council meetings, and they do bill us hourly, and on their scope, they have put a not to exceed $250,000. That fee will be split between the water and the wastewater utility. So we are here tonight recommending that the board approve that engagement letter for a not to exceed $250,000.
That's a LEAP water and wastewater, right? Not the Civic?
LEAP, yes. And it'll be paid for out of the LEAP bonds.
These are limited to the Phase 2 portions of both projects?
Yes.
Okay.
Water Phase 2 and wastewater Phase 2. Those are both set to close in April of 2026, so in about 3 months.
All right, questions for Sandra, comments? I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the engagement letter with Baker Tilly Advisory Group for financial advisory and debt services related to the LEAP project, including authorization for fees not to exceed $250,000 subject to the terms outlined in the agreement.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve the engagement letter with Baker Tilly for financial advisory and debt issuance services related to the LEAP project, including authorization for fees not to exceed $250,000, subject to terms outlined in the agreement. Any additional questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. Okay, next item we have is the Water Usage Coordination Memorandum of Understanding, and our legal counsel, Mr. Jacob, will address the board.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Taylor. Board, as you have seen this agreement in a number of iterations, this is agreement between Lebanon Utilities and Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and this is memorializing an understanding between IEDC and Lebanon Utilities and eventually the city on how the regionalization of the additional water sourcing coming into the city will be delineated. And consistent with what the mayor has discussed for number of, I would say, years now, or certainly a number of months, the additional capacity coming in is 25 million gallons. And this carves out and memorializes what that negotiation has been, that there'll be a $5 million carve out for the civil district. This is consistent with the recommending resolution that you approved some months ago, and requesting that the city adopt an ordinance consistent with this agreement. This is a step towards that, and this agreement would need to be approved by the city as well. And we would probably partner a corresponding ordinance in front of them consistent with the resolution adopted by the utility board, consistent with this agreement. So any questions on that so far?
Does that have to go before us and city council?
Yes. The ordinance?
Yeah.
No, the ordinance, you've approved a resolution that designates 5 million to the civil district and 20 to the LEAP district. This agreement would need to go to the city council, but the ordinance would be city council only. You've approved that resolution, and this agreement would go, should you approve it, would then go to the city council as well.
But you have close coordination with the council for the city, and you don't anticipate any hiccups along the way, do you?
So any questions on what I've said so far, assuming none? So there is one provision that, so as we were sitting in the working session, I got an email from IEDC indicating that they were comfortable with this language. Section 5 of the agreement dealing with pre-allocation agreements is somewhat problematic, and we're going to have to work through that issue with the city attorney. I've brought that to his attention. So we're still working through that language. My request to you, so that we can continue to move forward with memorializing this agreement, finalizing this agreement in the ordinance, would be that you approve the agreement subject to city council approval and subject to revisions or out and out removal of section 5 of the agreement. So subject to legal counsel of the city, utility, mayor, and general manager's approval.
Remove number 5?
Edit or remove section 5, which has been my request.
So what would the practical impact of doing that be to this agreement?
That would be my question as well.
Yeah, so in effect, I'm of the opinion that pre-allocation agreements for the LEAP once we carve out what the distinction is between the 5 and the 20, then they're free to utilize that water for land that they're serving and private development agreements as they see fit. So in other words, we don't need to designate a chunk of water. I think this becomes redundant. There's some other implications that I could, but the relative to the need for a pre-allocation agreement and my request has been to the city attorney, ask that and determine whether or not he agrees. So we may edit paragraph 5 and we may remove it altogether, I believe to the benefit of the utility and city. That was language that the city, that IEDC's attorney had requested. I'm also happy to bring this back to you with that revision, but given that it's our requested change along with the city council and they've got to approve it still, I felt comfortable requesting your approval on this agreement subject to that revisions to section 5 and out removal of that paragraph.
It's not unusual for the city to, when they pass an ordinance after we pass a suggestion to them to edit it. So I think this is pretty much business as usual.
Yeah, and I have not heard back from Mr. Shine on the issue, so, but I would like to move this agreement. As soon as I can get it on their agenda.
I understand that. One last question, and I think I'm okay with it, but what are the drawbacks if the language isn't removed and it goes forward with it in there? I mean,
Well,
You said you'd edit or remove, right?
yeah, edit or remove. The downside is that it's somewhat committing us to move into pre-allocation agreements into for non-qualified projects. Happy to do pre-allocation agreements for qualified projects, but we don't really define that in.
By the planning and.
By the planning department. And so we want to make sure that that's consistent with our past practice and everyone is being treated consistently. So as this is drafted, I'm completely fine with it, but I want to make sure that IEDC's expectation as to what a pre-allocation agreement would, given the past economic need and drive. Allocation agreement was not a qualified project. So we want to make sure that what that expectation is going forward.
so an edit would be something of a clarification on what you just described.
Correct.
Okay.
Removal of the paragraph altogether.
Got you. Thank you.
Right, any other questions, comments for Jeff on this item? I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the water usage coordination memorandum of understanding, subject to approval by the Common Council for the City of Lebanon, and also subject to city, utility, general manager, and general counsel edits or removal of section 5.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann, to approve the water usage coordination memorandum of understanding, subject to approval by the Common Council for City of Lebanon, and changes to item 5 as noted by Mr. Hudson. Any additional discussion, questions?
Should we say edit or remove? It's my,
I think he did.
Yeah.
you just said removed. Didn't you, Tim?
I had it written down as edit or remove. I think I said it, but if I didn't, I meant edit
Okay.
or remove.
All right.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, moving on to the injection vault replacement. Looks like Spencer Portish has a couple items for us tonight. Hey,
Sir,
Spencer.
so just to give some background, we noticed a chlorine leak out at Sugar Creek, our water treatment plant out at Sugar Creek. And upon some research, the water treatment crew got down in the manhole for the chlorine injector vault, noticed some intense corrosion, and upon some slight pressure, the injector line actually broke off of the pipe. So essentially, this request is for the approval to have a contractor remove and replace the 12-inch well line and structure due to excessive corrosion over time. To mitigate future issues in the vault, we are planning to replace a small section of pipe entering the vault with C900 to ensure that there are no fittings or bolts exposed. We received 3 quotes on this from Reynolds, Kokosing, and Bowen. Although Kokosing does not have the lowest price on paper, they do have the most responsive bid price. That would be due to some yard restorations. The directive was given to the contractors that we would like to have the area that they're going to track these excavators back in to dig restored to the existing condition that it is now. Reynolds decided to exclude that in their proposal. Bowen and Kokosing included it. So therefore, that would make Kokosing the lowest complete proposal. So I'd like to note that this would come out of the improvements for the well improvements and rehab upgrades on the budget. So I would like to request the approval of Kokosing Industrial to perform the work outlined in the proposal dated January 16th, 2026 for the amount not to exceed $44,000.
All right, thanks, Spence. Any questions for Spencer, comments?
So we have the $44,000 in the budget line for this?
Yes, sir. The total budget line is $105,000. And this will be the first time that line item gets used.
Draw on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, any other comments or questions for Spencer? I entertain a motion.
I move to approve Kokosing Industrial to perform the injection vault replacement for the amount not to exceed $44,000.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, and I believe Bill got second to approve Kokosing to perform the injection vault replacement for an amount not to exceed $44,000. Additional comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Spencer, we'll move on to the wastewater treatment plant expansion amendment number 4.
Yes, this request is for the approval of the wastewater treatment plant expansion amendment number 4. This amendment is for the construction administration and resident representative services for phase 1 and 2 for the expansion project. This will be paid out of the LEAP wastewater bond. And in addition to that, I'd like to note that this is being contracted for both phase 1 and 2. But out of phase 1 money. And I'd also like to note that that would be roughly $1 million underneath the budget for that. So we would be under budget inside of phase 1, but that takes care of us for 2 years. 2 years, that's correct. 2.5, sorry. 3.5 years, sorry for that. So I would like to request the approval of the Wessler Engineering to perform the services outlined in the wastewater treatment plant expansion amendment number 4 for the amount not to exceed $4,050,000.
All right, thanks, Spencer. Questions, comments for Spencer on this?
What Wessler personnel will provide the construction administration?
I will let Dr. Bob Holden with Wessler answer that question.
Construction individuals. So I'll be present for the project throughout the remainder of the project. We also have a construction manager that will be part of the project team. And this represents about 18,000 hours of time, man hours over about a 3.5-year period. There's a team of about, I don't know, probably 25 or so people working on this right now.
Okay, and has the construction inspectors, how many construction inspectors will there be associated with this?
There are 2 on site right now. It could go up to 3 depending on construction activity.
And full-time?
Full-time.
Thank
Are you
you.
going to be in your own trailer or in the trailer with the contractor? Or do you have?
They have a trailer right there just off the entrance drive.
So an enterprising person or board member could come visit sometime and talk to you.
Bet.
Okay.
All right.
I said that the wrong way, I guess. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should have said Aaron can come and visit you, right?
Just make sure you talk to Neil first.
All right, any other questions for Spencer on this expansion amendment? All right, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Wessler Engineering Amendment Number 4 for construction administration and resident representative services for phase 1 and 2 of the wastewater treatment plant expansion project for an amount not to exceed $4,050,000.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, and I think Ann got the second to approve the Wessler Engineering Amendment Number 4 for construction administration and resident representative service for phase 1 and 2 of the wastewater treatment plant expansion project for an amount not to exceed $4,050,000. Any additional questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you, guys. We'll move to our claims, payrolls, transfers dated February 4th. everyone had a chance to review those? And if so, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve claims payroll transfers dated February 4th, 2026 in the amount of $6,763,120.67 for claims and payroll and $7,819,022.51 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the claims, payroll, and transfers dated February 4th, 2026. Additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, any other business from the board tonight? All right, we will offer public comment at this time if there's anyone who'd like to make comments. Yeah. Good evening.
I'm Jack Bennett. I'm a resident and Lebanon Utilities customer for 7 years now. I'm also a longtime visitor of Eagle Creek Park. And I have some ecological concerns regarding the metadata center that's planned. One of them namely being thermal pollution from it, as thermal pollution can cause a lot of harm to ecological life, aquatic life, like altering reproduction, changing environmental processes, that kind of stuff. So basically, my question is, what's going to be done to mitigate the effects of thermal pollution from the data center?
Hi, I'm Ed Baskell. I'm the general manager at Lebanon Utilities. I will say that we're studying thermal pollution and anything else that might degrade stream life, and we're going to make sure that it doesn't do that. And one of the things that's going to help mitigate it is the fact that it's mixed with other waste, and it's going to be a very long line getting there. But rather than getting all the details of that, we're having other public meetings where we can address that in more detail, and we can talk to you afterwards. We have our engineer in the audience, Dr. Bob Holden, who could probably address that better than I can, though. So, but we are looking at that, and we are very committed to making sure nothing affects Eagle Creek negatively. And I also use Eagle Creek a lot. I row on the water there. I hike there a lot, and we care about the stream, and we're trying to do the right thing.
Right. When will be the future public meetings?
Well, we're meeting in Indianapolis tomorrow at the place escapes me. It's the City County building at the Parks and Recs and then we're also meeting on February 10th with Protect Pike County.
So I have a question. What is thermal pollution?
Sorry, what's that?
What is thermal pollution?
It's pollution that affects the physical properties of the water, either by increasing the temperature or decreasing it. A lot of times from data centers, it's increasing the water because of the water being used.
So the water leaving the data center is heated to a degree that's problematic?
Yes, it can be.
Okay, well, that water is going to go through our waste treatment plant. It goes directly to our waste treatment plant. And so when the water comes out of our waste treatment plant, it comes out at a temperature. Right now, we're feeding that water directly into Prairie Creek. And it comes out at a temperature that is not at all harmful to the creek. And that's the plan for the delivery line to Eagle Creek also.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Hello.
I'm not a resident of Lebanon. My name's Colleen Curtin. I grew up in Marion County and I live in Hamilton County now. I have a lot of concerns. I love Eagle Creek. Lebanon is my neighborhood, is my neighbor. You guys are in Boone County. You're right next door. I think I actually am more concerned because I think one of the things I just heard was the water is going to travel a long way. That doesn't make water cleaner on the other end. I have some really significant concerns about the plants and ecosystem and wildlife that will be affected in Eagle Creek, but also my drinking water comes from Eagle Creek. And I'm really concerned about the quality of that water on the other side of this use. And I can appreciate that the community of Lebanon is dealing with the consequences of the LEAP district. My community did not choose that. It is really frustrating to me that our water is on the line because of choices that were made by other communities or by the state. But I think because your utility is being entrusted with my water and my community's water, you need to be able to answer questions about the environmental impacts. And I would like to know, are there environmental studies that have been done to ensure that the water that is being output into Eagle Creek is safe, not just for human consumption, but for the life that lives in that reservoir and in that creek and in that watershed?
I can take that one too. Studies are underway. We are working with IDEM, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and they regulate the water. And we don't discharge a drop of water to a stream right now in Prairie Creek without what's called an NPDES permit, where they've approved that water meets quality of the stream in Prairie Creek where we discharge now. Because every wastewater plant around the state discharges to a stream, and we're currently discharging to Prairie Creek. And that water either meets or exceeds the quality in that stream, and they will not give us a permit to Eagle Creek that doesn't make the water quality the same or better going to Eagle Creek. And you mentioned that the water traveling a long time doesn't make it cleaner, and that's exactly right. We're going to take it through a state-of-the-art treatment plant, and where the time of travel comes in is it's going to reach outside temperature. So our plant is outside these big basins, where right now, when it goes into Prairie Creek, it's not really room temperature, it's outside temperature when it goes into the creek because it's been sitting in the plant for possibly, depending on the flow rate going through the plant, possibly a day. And then the line size, when that line goes to Eagle Creek, is another day. So the thermal pollution will be, it should be very close to outside ambient temperature by the time it gets there. But I don't want to quote the engineer who's doing the study. It's going to depend on the flow rate. But the water is going to be treated, and we're working very closely with Citizens Energy. They are the people that run the treatment plant that treats the water coming out of Eagle Creek from the treatment plants that's there already. And our water is, in Eagle Creek, you may not know this, it already has discharges from other wastewater plants going to it.
I'm aware.
The older plants, and this is going to be the newest state-of-the-art plant going to it. So our water is probably going to be some of the best water going to that reservoir.
Can you talk a little bit more about what the environmental studies are that are underway right now?
Well, right now we have what's called an anti-degradation study underway, which is going to look at just the things that you're concerned about. Look about what the impacts would be to the stream, different parameters, and how they would affect the stream. I can't really, probably don't want to get into it in depth in this venue, but we can probably talk to you about it afterwards. I got engineers present and happy to talk about it. And as I mentioned, we had our last meeting, we had a presentation we gave with some details on that. And also it's on YouTube, freely available. And we're also, as I mentioned to your colleague, we also trying to get out there and be transparent and meet with the public. We're meeting tomorrow at the City County building in Indianapolis. And then February 10th, we're meeting with Protect Pike County. So
I appreciate getting information after this meeting. I also do want to say, because you record these meetings, and because I am not one of your neighbor, I'm not the only neighbor who's really concerned about this in neighboring counties. That information feels really important to make sure it's available to the public. I feel for you. I think this community is in a really difficult position, and I'm really sorry about that. I also think your neighboring counties have really significant and valid concerns. And as much as possible, transparency would be good. As a Citizens customer, I'm disappointed in the lack of transparency on that end. So I'd really appreciate it, especially because of the community utility that you are, for there to be more of that on your end. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I can just add one thing, we do have a website where we have our preliminary engineering reports, or PERs, the abbreviation we use, that has a lot of that information. We've made a fact sheet, and I believe Citizens has that also. So, and they'll be at the meeting that we're at. Both these meetings I described, they'll be at them too. So.
And in conjunction with this, I have a question for John Leitner. Would you please come? Yeah, I remember reading through those dozens and dozens of pages of the preliminary engineering report that there's environmental section included in the report, environmental assessment. When it comes to the effluent, we haven't really studied that yet. It's part of the permitting process, right? In other words, the environmental study included in the preliminary engineering report didn't address the effluent, did it?
Can I jump in there a second? We're trying to get away from saying effluent, because that's an engineering word that is not. We're trying to say treated water, and the effluent might be more appropriate for Bob Holden. I mean, I don't want to step on. You can answer a bit.
It's yeah. So Wessler is responsible for the design on the clean water line, or treated water line, or effluent, one of the, whichever term you'd like to use. But as part of the PER, the preliminary engineering report put together for the SRF funding, you are correct, Aaron. There is a section included in that on environmental concerns. So, but again, it is a preliminary engineering report. So there were very high level studies done, looked at different, endangered species that could be impacted. But as Ed mentioned, this anti-degradation demonstration required for the IDEM permit to get any outfall from any wastewater treatment plant, any new outfall, is a more in-depth, robust study. I believe Bob is very close, and Wessler is very close to having that ready to be turned in, at least in a draft form, to IDEM to continue the conversation that they've already been having with them. So I think everybody's made great points on, it takes into account everything that you're talking about. So different chemicals, different potential pollutants that could be in there, the thermal, really as many environmental concerns as you want, because the idea with the anti-degradation demonstration is you have to prove that the water that you are introducing into this water body is the same or better quality than what is already there.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Can I pick on Bob Holden, and can you come up and just make a few comments? Maybe my point, if I said anything wrong, maybe add a little bit to it about the anti-degradation and where you're at with it, please.
No, so the anti-degradation demonstration is largely complete. It's in draft form and being reviewed right now. So it's anticipated that it will be submitted within the next couple of weeks. As part of that, John was entirely correct. That anti-deg report has to demonstrate that there is not a significant lowering of the water quality of the discharge. Or if you do, there has to be a socio or economic justification for doing so. In this case, there won't be a significant lowering of water quality associated with this discharge.
Right.
Okay, and you're not concerned about the thermal? What I said was pretty much correct about the residence times?
The thermal is correct, and it's a valid concern. But with the discharge from Meta into the collection system, the residence time in the collection system, and then the residence time through the wastewater plant and the blending with other wastewaters, there really will not be a significant or any thermal impact at all from that wastewater.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, come on back up.
Please.
Appreciate you all being here. Want to make sure people can hear me. Are you all engineers?
Yes, ma'am.
I would love to see some ecologists and some hydrologists and hear from them. I live in Carmel. I'm surrounded by engineers all the time. They're brilliant. But when people are talking about significant environmental impact, respectfully, you have a place. But the more important thing to me is someone on the discharge end of this would be to hear from someone who is able to speak about the ecological and environmental impact. Can I ask a question about, is Lebanon Utilities aware of what will be in the cooling blend that they use with the water with Meta? I know sometimes those are like proprietary, but do you all know what they're going to put into it? We do, yes. Okay. I suppose you can't share that because it's proprietary, eh? Interesting. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. All right, if there's nothing else, we're scheduled to meet again Wednesday, February 18th, 5 PM. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.